Hey guys, Bada Bing here. Thanks for joining me. Make yourself comfortable, grab a cup of coffee, and chill down, for today I'm going to be reviewing VFC's HK416A5 gas blowback rifle. The A5 version of the HK416 has been around for 3 or 4 years now, and is the natural evolution of that weapon system. VFC once again partnering with Umarex and their very expensive HK license to reproduce this magnificent carbine. And to this day, it remains the only A5 you can actually get in airsoft. So, what makes it different to the standard HK416? Well, the immediate difference is the redesigned magwell. This comes from the requirement for more magazine compatibility. The square jaw of the standard version just couldn't swallow some magazines, namely Magpul PMags. They returned to a magwell that traditionally comes on your normal AR-15. It is further enhanced upon with a prominent flare around the mouth to aid in reloading. From there, they made it completely ambidextrous. Every control component is reproduced with both left and right-handed shooters. Ambidextrous selector switch and the mag release catch, but in my opinion, the best addition is the bolt release catch on the right-hand side of the receiver, which can be locked back and released by this paddle here. Furthermore, the other most noticeable update is the buttstock. The newer HK slimline stock that comes with the A5 wins no awards for features or storage capacity. Its slim profile, simplistic, and practical uses far exceed the previous generation of HK stocks in my book. The older model is a big Frankenstein of a stock, the bolts on the neck clearly being the sling loops built onto the rear, which would ring the back of your jaw like a bell if shouldered in a hurry. Moving along, we find a beefed up castle nut to further increase survivability when dropped. We also find an updated HK grip, and it appears to be missing the finger groove. Now, I've never had an issue with the A2 style finger groove of days gone by, but now I'm realising it is a far more comfortable grip without it. As usual, there is a storage space within it for tools and other bits and pieces. Another evolution happens to be the barrel length and rail system. This A5 now comes with an 11-inch barrel configuration with an adjustable gas block and a slightly extended railed handguard with an integrated flip-up iron sight. Speaking of the rail, they've revised the lockup between the handguard and the upper receiver, also managing to squeeze in an extra rail slot between these two parts. These improved features have brought the rifle back up to date and reduced the FN scar to tears. So, what's VFC's latest addition to the HK Grey Room like? Well, look at it, it's absolutely stunning. VFC once again doing a bang-up job on the externals. The finish is sublime, trademarks are exquisite. There's zero play between the upper and lower receiver, no flexing, nothing. It is incredibly well balanced. The central balance is slap bang in the middle of the magwell. It's also very light. Even with a loaded gas magazine, it's exceptionally light. Helps a lot when making use of the rail space for accessories. With the amount of attention to detail VFC have given the A5, unfortunately the barrel does this. This isn't an isolated case of barrel wobble either, reports from other A5 users indicating the same issue. One of the fundamental advantages to me is the right side bolt catch. So easy to set yourself up, lock the bolt to the rear, insert magazine, drop the bolt, done. It probably won't be for everybody. If you have a stubby trigger finger, you may have to revert to the old school manipulation as the reach may be a little too far for you. Engaging the bolt catch from the left side can take a little getting used to as well. Due to the exaggerated fencing surrounding the top of the catch, it can prohibit you from giving it a good slap with the heel of your paw. Now, the iron sights. I love the iron sights. The minimalistic design just works so well, and the slightly higher position makes it flow much easier when gauging your preferred cheek weld. I found on the older sights I had to adjust my line of sight lower just to align the 2 points. Here, it's a breeze. The fire selector looks a little different. The main switches are now made of polymer, and it has very positive and tactile fire mode selections. Usually ambi selectors tends to dig into my trigger finger, but on this rifle it isn't as bad. The spines aren't as long as traditional selectors, but still gives you large enough surface area for good manipulation. The charging handle has been somewhat enhanced with a larger lever that has the ability to be ambidextrous by taking out the roll pin and swapping it round to the other side. Putting back on the charging handle requires a little more effort than gas blowback rifles I'm used to. GHK M4 and Tokyo Marui M4s have a softer draw, so the A5 has a stronger recoil spring. Should be fun to shoot then. By the looks of it, we have a heavy weight buffer with a movable weight. This will produce a pretty decent kick, and reduce the chances of bolt bounce. While we're on the subject of the bolt, the HK416 bolt carrier certainly looks the part. Everything from its black finish to the HK logo, it looks great. Even the cutout where we find the HK logo is set fairly deep into the carrier. It's like they've gone in as far as they could, replicating the one found on the real 416, but still managing to keep a regular sized nozzle. Here it is compared to one from a WE-Tech 416 GBBR. This one is obviously lower grade finish and, well, materials. The cutout here is shallow, engraving is awful, and to look at it makes my eyes bleed. While we have the rifle apart, we can assess the situation in regards to decent steel internals. Pretty much the only thing I can find which isn't made from steel is the trigger and bolt carrier, for the most part anyway. The bolt carrier engagement point for the bolt catch is made from a piece of steel that is pinned into place. All in all, the internals should hold up well. Moving swiftly on, the new generation of VFC GBBRs come with FPS adjustable nozzles. It's a fantastic feature to have. No need to purchase MPAS kits, higher or lower dual nozzles. Just insert an appropriate Allen key and screw in to decrease FPS, and unscrew to increase FPS. Easy. One can choose the speed setting anywhere from the high 200s right through to near 500 FPS. So, with a respectable setting of 330, let's see how it does putting holes into paper at 20 meters. I'll be using RWA Airsoft Surgeon 3s, and of course my number one fuel, propane. While putting rounds through the system, I have to give credit to the trigger. There's practically no take up to the wall. It's so smooth and breaks so clean, it's like cutting glass. The reset borders on being deafening, it's insane. I know, it's only an airsoft gun, but I've used my fair share of triggers that just feel like water pistols. Or if you remember those old translucent toy laser guns with the sparks inside when you pull the trigger. Okay, well, maybe not exactly like that, but you get the idea. Trigger, good. Well, that's not too bad, I suppose. My previous VFC gas guns not being known for their out-of-the-box precision, so scoring hits on paper with only a couple outside the zone is quite average. What helps get you set up with your desired BBs is the method of hop-up adjustment, which is located in the gas block. Turn anti-clockwise and this increases the hop-up, and anti-clockwise for decreasing the hop-up. You see, this rifle really does have the best user-friendly features available. So, down to the shooting. The 416 is great fun, just as I promised you it would. They have found the best blend of cyclic rate and heavy recoil. It isn't insanely strong, but more so than what you'd get from the stock GHK-M4. Despite the violent jolt through your shoulder, the bolt reciprocation is very smooth, unlike the GHK, but feels very gritty on the account of the bolt carrier finish. The HK bolt carrier has that smooth sheen, which glides over the hammer. The resulting feeling being direct, sharp, and tangos exceptionally well with the trigger. Fully automatic is also very exciting, however it isn't something this weapon system does best. Other GBBRs do enjoy the fully auto experience more than this one does. I can accept this. Hell, one could make changes to the buffer or buffer spring which would tailor a better fully automatic carbine. While the system has the capability to complete a mag on one continuous burst, issues I've had with the bolt lock make it fire past the 30 rounds and chug until it flames out, but I'll get back to this issue later on. The range was also acceptable. Surprising to me that I was able to hit the mannequin at 50 meters with my Airsoft Surgeon 3s, without much effort other than adjusting the gas lock for optimum BB flight. This is a wonderful base for users to upgrade upon. An intermediate bucking and inner barrel would make this such a wonderful skirmish rifle. So, as much as this HK416A5 has impressed me, and it has, there are a couple of things which require attention. The rifle has never locked back on empty. Ever. I have two 416 magazines and both experience bolt lock issues. Once the rifle has fired its last BB, the bolt catch will flick up and grind under the bolt carrier as it moves backwards, but it just doesn't want to lock empty. It's as if the bolt catch doesn't ascend fast or even high enough to catch onto the carrier as it begins to make its return journey. Often, the bolt catch elevates to a position that simply isn't high enough to lock. The bolt carrier merely rides straight over it, causing the tip of the bolt catch to deform slightly. As this happens, it impedes the motion, so much so that it slows the carrier down. This action is noticeable, and inspecting the chamber will confirm that the rifle is empty. Even manually pulling back on the charging handle doesn't want to lock the BCG. If I snatch the charging handle back with authority, only then will it positively lock. I'm not the only one with this problem. I've seen other users on the German Airsoft forum reporting bolt lock issues on theirs too, and with multiple magazines. I also spoke to mon ami en France, Ding Chavez, and he too has said he has had his share of problems with bolt lock on multiple magazines. Some magazines would reliably lock, and some won't. Now, I've tried one or two things, and both of these ideas didn't work out for me. One age-old method for bolt lock is by gluing a small piece of an old credit card to the bottom of the lever that engages the tab to the rear of the magazine. It was able to lock one or two times, but with limited success. Another idea I had was using a longer spring within the magazines to place more tension upon the bolt lock tab. Again, this had limited success, and of course would reduce the magazine capacity. As this rifle isn't available worldwide yet at the time of filming, only within the EU, users in Asia haven't had chance to get their hands on it and work out the kinks. In the meantime, I'll pursue other potential fixes for this problem, and if I find a solid solution, I'll let you know. Another problem I'm having, apart from the barrel wobble and bolt lock issues, is more of a personal one. That involves the pistol grip. These edges, to be precise. These edges dig right into my middle finger, especially when trying to reach the bolt catch with my trigger finger. It's not contoured flush with the trigger guard and presents such an uncomfortable shadow on an otherwise perfect grip. I'm currently looking to replace with a genuine HK grip. Would I recommend the HK416A5? Yeah, I would. If we put aside the outrageously stellar looks of the rifle and look at what it actually offers the user, I find this a pretty good choice. It scores very highly in its lightweight, fully ambidextrous, rugged construction, mostly steel internals, easy to access and adjust hop-up system, nozzle FPS adjustment, smooth and enjoyable recoil action, also it's quite snappy too. The only negatives this rifle has to speak of being its bolt lock issues and loose tolerance on the barrel. So VFC are being true to their nature yet again, needing some improving out of the box. Which is such a shame as they've got it almost right. It's so close to being perfect. As a representation of Heckler & Koch's assault rifle, that comes at a cost. The cost of an expensive license. one that Umarex ponies up the big bucks for, and in turn, so do we. In Europe, this will cost you about €500 or more depending on where you look. The magazines are insanely expensive too. I've seen them priced 50 to just shy of €70 each. To be honest, I'd rather buy GHK M4 mags and modify the 416 valve striker to run them effectively. After all, GHK mags are renowned for their gas efficiency. Join me next time when I'll be putting the HK416A5 up against the Tokyo Marui M4 MWS GBBR. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them downstairs or ping me on my Facebook page, facebook.com/badabingpictures. Thanks for watching the video, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, why not hit that like, and if you haven't already, smash that subscribe icon so you can keep up to date with my latest videos. So until next time, take care of yourselves, and I'll catch you in a bit. And still, the bolt lock refuses to work.